Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is How to Drum and Bass, the channel where I teach you, amongst other things, how to make the sounds that you hear in the most popular songs of today. And unlike other channels, which mostly, who do this kind of stuff only focus on the things in the drop, I've had a few requests to sort of cover some more intro elements and some things that are outside of the drop because, well, let's face it, we're not only always making drops, we have to make a whole song. So today, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be doing this in a lot more videos in the future. We're going to cover a really cool intro element from this song Recombine by Culture Shock, and it's quite basic, but it does a really great job of setting the mood of the song. So the sound that I'm talking about is the intro saw lead type of sound for Recombine, which comes in about the second part of the intro, which sounds like this. So yeah, if you've heard Recombine, you'll definitely recognize this. It really sets the mood for something grim, and it's actually not that hard, but there are some really interesting techniques that we can use to make the sound. So let's dive into what we've got here. Our recreation sounds like this. As you can hear, lots of movement in this sound here. You can see that it really slides nicely over this note progression here, and you can hear that the sound is, even though it's quite simple, it never becomes stale. So let's have a look at how we can recreate this from scratch. Let's get a new instance of Serum, and if you want the MIDI notes, by the way, you can download them for free in the link below. I'll include a link to download both the MIDI notes and this sound as a preset for free. Just check the description down here. So for now, yeah, let's just copy these MIDI notes and let's start by going into Serum. So basically what we're going to be creating is a saw lead with a lot of unison and a lot of reverb and a lot of movement in that saw. So you could actually already just simply use this saw here. I actually quite like, for this particular purpose, to use one of these analog saw alternatives, which I think comes from one of the hardware synthesizers back in the day. And I'm talking about the MB saw right here. And so what you'll see, this is basically almost the same as a saw. It just has, I think, a little bit of different bins. And if you move the wavetable position, it becomes sort of like almost like a synced saw. And what that means is it has some extra top end tonality, and it just sounds a little bit less stale than a saw, I would say. And we're gonna make use of this wavetable in a little bit. But first, we're gonna pick this and we're gonna put it somewhere around here so that it does actually resemble a saw, just a little bit more jagged like that. And then we're immediately gonna crank up the unison. This sound is really wide and it's a little bit dispersed, not too much. So we're gonna go up to 14 in unison. You can pick another number, but I found that 14 works best. And we're just gonna dial back this detune quite a lot. And so this is something that we may want to manage. So I'm going to put a macro on this for the moment, and we're going to have a look later at how this will influence the sound. But for now, we're going to put it here. All right, cool. Then, so what we hear in this sound as well is it definitely has some type of shaping to it. We can hear that it definitely has some attack in there, and that attack also is triggered in every note. So it actually, we have to put it in the envelope. And let's put this at, like, let's say maybe like 140 milliseconds or something like that. And then as well, I want the release of this to be really, really quite long, maybe like 3 seconds or something. The purpose of that is as follows. What I want is for when I release a key. So let me just arm this in solo, our current track. I've now released the key, but it keeps the volume up, which is, that's what we want because it's a very atmospheric sound. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna already start creating a little bit of movement in here. So I want to take LFO1, I'm gonna assign it to this wavetable position and just let it move just a little bit. And I'm gonna take the BPM off of here so that it moves relatively fast. Cool. So what that's going to do basically is it's going to make this vary in the wavetable over time, but not too much. And that's just going to create a little bit of extra movement. Similarly, what I want to do, since we have 14 unison, we can actually go into this global tab here and we can do something with the wavetable position distribution. So I'm going to bring this up to about 30 or something. And if you don't know what this does, we have an entire section on all of the really insane things that you can do with this global menu in our flagship course, Drum and Bass Sound Design Mastery, which is literally the best and most in-depth course on drum and bass sound design on the planet. I guarantee that. You can check that out in the link below. But for now, let's talk about what this does really quickly. So when you have unison, then in this global tab, you can manage the distribution between those unison voices. So if I have this as 0, that means the wavetable position is always going to be the same for each voice of this unison, right? If I take this unison, and let me just put the detune up a little bit more, you can see that there's a whole bunch of voices distributed, but they're all going to be playing the same wavetable. If I have in this global tab this wavetable position thing up, then what it's going to do is on all the voices, there's going to be a distribution of 30% from the norm. So basically, up until here and up until here, that all those voices are going to have a slightly different wavetable. And the nice thing about this wavetable is that all of them are so close to each other that it's not going to make it go all crazy, but it is going to give us a super wide sound, because now what's going to happen is all the voices on the left and the right are going to be playing slightly different wavetables, and that's just going to make the sound super wide without actually necessarily having to add even more unison or even more sort of like voice distribution. And you can already immediately hear it, that's going to make things really, really awesome. So yeah, one thing we definitely know for sure is that we want to drown this in reverb. So let's already add this. Let's put it pretty high, maybe at like 50% or something. And let's turn that size up as well. This is a very atmospheric sound, so we want to really get that roominess. And let's put another macro maybe on this mix here. Put it all the way up. And yeah, so we can manage this later, because we might want to change this a bit, right? So let's maybe do something like this. Let's call it reverb. The other thing that we're hearing right now when we're playing these notes is we need them to have some sort of portamento. So let's put it on mono. So if you don't know what mono does, it makes sure that the notes don't have to overlap for portamento to occur. And let's put this at about 100 milliseconds so that the notes glide a little bit nicer. Let's put this legato on as well, and maybe actually, yeah, let's yeah, we do have to activate this always. See, that's better. Perfect. Let's add a little bit more movement to this sound. We're gonna grab a ASIM, and it doesn't really matter what you grab here. I just quite like this, and we're gonna use this same LFO, this quick moving LFO, to sorta do a little bit to this drive here, just so that the sound has like a different distribution of distortedness over time. And you can see that this is making it a little bit wonky, so let me just pull back the mix on this. Then in another attempt to add some more interestingness to it, let's go to this filter section. Let's grab one of these reverb filters. Since we already have a bunch of reverb, a reverb filter might be nice. And we're going to put this cutoff somewhere low, like maybe like 100 hertz or something. And we're going to key track it as well, so that the filter tuning changes with every note. And what we want to do then is we don't want the whole thing, because it'll sound a little bit weird. Sound very muffled. So we're going to dial back that mix a little bit, and we're just going to up this drive as well.
Hey, quick break. If you're enjoying these videos and you like my style of teaching, and you've been feeling like you want to get more into sound design, specifically for drum and bass, then maybe you want to check out my brand new online course called Drum and Bass Sound Design Mastery. It's an absolutely massive course with over 150 videos spanning 14 hours of content, where we teach you two things. In the first half, we teach you everything there is to know about synthesizing sound in Serum. And in the second part, we show you how to use that knowledge to create the most popular sounds in drum and bass. I guess you can see it like the ultimate masterclass of drum and bass sound design. So if that sounds like something you could be interested in, check the link in the description below to find out more about this awesome course. All right, let's get on with the video.
All right, next, let's go and add a chorus, just so that we have a little bit of a wider sound. The chorus adds some extra delayed voices to it. And I think actually if you just pull back this mix to about like 30%, it'll already be fine. Nice. Okay, cool. Then let's make sure also to sort of compress that end result. Turn down the threshold. And then up that gain. Perfect. All right. And so what I want to do now is, if I listen to what we've got here, and then if I listen to the original, I think I can hear that the highs are a little bit more present there. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and after the compression, we can add a little bit of EQing. So we can actually go and say, let's do a little bit of a shelf EQ. And you can kind of play with this frequency knob, sort of see where you really, really want that. And then lastly, what we can also do as well here is we can add this hyper dimension all the way at the end. So the reason I want to do that is that hyper adds extra voices to it, right? And so does dimension. And basically, if we were to do that before the reverb, then we would first generate those extra voices and that extra width, and then put the reverb over all of those. Now we are actually duplicating some voices with reverb, which is just going to make it sound like even wider, basically. So I want to turn that down, that mix, and let's also turn down this rate and this detune so that it doesn't get too droney. And we're going to turn down the size on this dimension as well to something very low, and the mix, we can play with that. All right, next we're going to do something else interesting that is a really cool technique. So I'm going to grab this LFO2, and we're going to put one point here on this first little line of the grid, and we're going to put another point here on this last little line of the grid. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to actually move this back a little bit and do something like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into the matrix and assign LFO number 2 to the master tuning. And so why do I want this? Let me just really quickly do the settings. So I want to have this on 1. We don't need too much of it. And I actually do want this on bipolar. And what it's going to do is it's going to slightly put some attack on the tuning, and it's going to make the tuning go off. So watch this. And I also want to change this to about 2 bars. And this is going to, at every hit of the note, it's going to make it sort of go, sort of like have that sort of attack in that tuning. And then if I play the note for long enough, that's why we got to put this on 2 bars, then it will also tune down the note and make it sound like sad, basically. And of course we do have to put this on envelope mode then. Great. All right, now let's do some fine tuning. Let's take this wavetable position and let's let it vary a little bit more. Let's also maybe put some resonance a little bit on this filter just to create a little bit more there. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the smooth on this LFO so that it's a little bit less harsh. Nice. And yeah, that is it. Now we have this sound. Sweet. All right. Well, that is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please help me out if I helped you out a little bit and put a comment on this video. It doesn't even matter what, but that engagement helps me put this video out to more people like you who want to learn about drum and bass production. So go ahead, put a comment, or if not, like. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe because I'm going to be putting out so much more super valuable content every single week, multiple times from now on. So hit all of those buttons for me. And if you want to learn more about how to produce professional drum and bass, make sure to check out howtodrumandbass.com or just check one of the links in the description below. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.